Hi, I'm Jeff Kleinman, the editor-in-chief of BevNet here at BevNet Live, where we are just going into lunch, and that means it's time for the Livestream Lounge. We're very fortunate to have Nicole Fry, managing director at First Beverage Group, with us, as well as Carol Ortenberg, our Project Nosh editor. And Nicole spoke 6 months ago at our last BevNet.
That's right, in New York.
So since then, I wanted to ask you, have there been any changes in the deal environment for smaller beverage companies?
You know, I don't know that there's been dramatic changes. There's been some very high-profile deals announced, as we've all, talked about in the conference over the last 2 days with Suja being announced. I think that was probably right after Bai. And some others. So there's been some high-profile transactions. I would say the interest remains as strong as ever from both strategics and financial investors in this space. So I think, the activity continues.
The Keurig sale, what's your read on that?
That's a really interesting transaction. Benckiser has been on a tear, the last few months with Pete's, Intelligentsia, Steptown, and now Keurig. And so, seeing those transactions, really creating, a coffee, a global coffee company that's pretty compelling. I think it speaks to a lot of trends at home, obviously. But, more broader, just, what we're seeing in coffee and with Stumptown and Cold Brew and what they're doing in that space is really interesting. And I think we've seen some interesting companies here. So I think, the momentum behind the category. And, I think the interplay between retail and branding and wholesale is also really interesting with what they're building.
So 2 follow-up questions there. First of all, do you expect to see more from that group, more acquisitions coming there?
Absolutely.
So you think
yes.
they're going to continue to roll
I think
up coffee?
I think so.
And then the second question is, does the Keurig idea, does that sort of tie all these disparate brands together and create sort of more of a reason for the brands to all be under the same umbrella? Does that?
Yeah,
is that the logical
obviously
format?
there's clear synergies when you own a portfolio of brands and can go to the consumers with that, sort of, mid, better, best, and you can play out that portfolio strategy. So clearly,
and an instant brand and an instant, distribution and retailing platform. It's like they bought all the razor. the razor cartridges out there.
Right, exactly.
Do you think the Keurig Cold will, sort of lead to other acquisitions in sort of that space as well, more of the soda space?
I think it could, and I think there's a lot of brands that are positioned well to innovate with an at-home capability. So to bring that functionality and marry it with the right brand, with the right product, because, you can't be just soda. Yeah. And so, I think there's a lot they could do with teas, with waters, with, a lot of other products.
So I was just on stage with Seafresh, and they're sitting there saying, we want to either innovate or buy.
Right. I heard that too.
Yeah. You're like, fees.
It's interesting, though, that, a lot of people are a little more coy about it, but, for him to get up there and say we're in 10 categories and I hope it will become 30, it's great for people in my business, but it's great for a lot of these entrepreneurs and small brands, too.
Yeah.
So I think, and absolutely, and your question was right on about, the perimeter of the store, and they see what's happening to their mainstream center store business, and this is really the growth engine for the company.
Now, obviously Scott wasn't going to speak to it, but what other strategics do you see really kind of realigning themselves to meet the consumer and the store need in the right way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, another one that comes to mind, White Wave, we all know about. They've been very acquisitive with So Delicious, their investment in Daily Greens, and I think and Vega now, and they'll continue to look at acquisitions. I think Smucker's is another interesting one. They bought Sahali Snacks. They're all over these trade shows with teams out there, so they're another one I would keep an eye on for sure. And there's the ones we all know about, like Hain. Starbucks has bought a few,
And they're investing again, is the word on the street, that they're actually doing
Yep.
some VC type money.
Right. And then you've seen Dr. Pepper, with their investments in Buy and Body Armor. I think it's more of an investment and distribution play. We'll see where they go with respect to larger acquisitions. So there's definitely, quite a few larger strategics out there, and companies that were traditionally just food, like Campbell's, like Smucker, are branching into beverages more and more.
So where's you think Smucker is going into beverage?
Well, they're in beverage with Santa Cruz Organic.
Oh, sure.
And so they have that play, but I think they're seeing now more and more we're seeing, as the produce aisle beverages come into different sections of the store, you're going to see that trend continue.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting time over the next year, and looking forward to, in 6 months, seeing what else has sort of manifested and developed in the space and deals. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nicole, I have one last question for you. Bill's a big investor in Whistle Pig. Do you guys get to drink a lot of it in the office?
Actually, when you walk into our office, there is a bar on the left with some Whistle Pig.
Nice. Please send some.
You have your priorities in line, Jeff.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.